Obi-Wan Kenobi made my least favorite A New Hope scene even worse. I absolutely loved Obi-Wan Kenobi, but even I can't deny it made one key scene in A New Hope that already bothered me so much worse. Obi-Wan Kenobi was a fascinating and surprising addition to Star Wars movies and TV shows. Not only did it see Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor return to their roles as Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, two of Star Wars' best characters, for the first time since the prequels, but it also provided so much more insight into Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa's upbringings. In fact, the trailers, interviews, and promotional materials leading up to the release of Obi-Wan Kenobi all indicated that young Luke would be a major part of the plot. That proved somewhat true, as Luke did appear in multiple episodes. What shocked everyone, though, was the revelation that this show was significantly more focused on Leia than it was on Luke. Personally, I was delighted to see little Leia and learn about her connection to Obi-Wan, but this story made my least favorite scene in A New Hope even worse for one key reason. Leia comforting Luke after Obi-Wan died was always absurd. From the very first time I watched Star Wars, I found it absurd that Leia comforts Luke after Obi-Wan Kenobi dies in A New Hope, even though she has just lost her entire planet and her parents. This is ridiculous for a number of reasons, one of which is simply the significantly different magnitude of the tragedies they experienced. For Leia's part, she had just watched her planet blown up right in front of her, killing essentially everyone she knew and loved. She also bore the guilt of that, as she theoretically had the opportunity to sell out the rebellion and save her loved ones. This is quite a bit different from Luke watching a man he very recently developed a relationship with die, and, even in this case, die is a bit of a stretch, given he really just became one with the Force before Darth Vader could actually strike him. Despite the enormity of Leia's loss and the significantly less traumatic experience Luke had, it is Leia who comforts Luke in A New Hope. Despite the enormity of Leia's loss and the significantly less traumatic experience Luke had, it is Leia who comforts Luke in A New Hope. This has always bothered me, and I'm far from the only person who has thought this made no sense. Princess Leia actress Carrie Fisher also spoke about how this plot point frustrated her. Clearly, this plotline was already perplexing and frustrating enough, but the Obi-Wan Kenobi show made this so much worse with the storyline about Obi-Wan and 10-year-old Leia Organa. Obi-Wan Kenobi revealed Leia and Obi-Wan's history. The absurdity of Leia comforting Luke after Obi-Wan's death in A New Hope has only become more punctuated as the Star Wars timeline has been further developed. This was true even just following the prequels, which put a face to Leia's adoptive father, Bail Organa, who died when Alderaan was blown up. Star Wars, Episode IUI, Revenge of the Sith also confirmed that Bail and Breha immediately accepted Leia as their daughter and truly loved her, which made the reality of how they died significantly more painful. That pales in comparison to the effect Obi-Wan Kenobi had on this scene in A New Hope, though. Not only did Obi-Wan Kenobi show how much Leia loved her parents, but it also revealed that Leia was even closer to Obi-Wan than Luke was. This means that not only was Leia comforting Luke after experiencing the greatest loss of her life, but also she was arguably the person who was most distraught over Obi-Wan's death at that moment. Leia wasn't just mourning Alderaan, she was mourning Obi-Wan too. Obi-Wan Kenobi revealed that Leia and Obi-Wan had met one another well before A New Hope. In the show, Obi-Wan abandoned his life of exile on Tatooine to rescue Leia when she was kidnapped, and he ended up saving her life multiple times throughout the events that unfolded. In addition to him repeatedly saving her as they made their way back to Alderaan, Obi-Wan and Leia grew to have a genuine bond. This actually helped to explain the odd revelation from the Star Wars sequels that Leia had named her son Ben after Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan and Leia grew to have a genuine bond. While this storyline improved that aspect of Star Wars, though it made this scene between Luke and Leia in A New Hope so much more bizarre and frustrating. The truth is, based on Obi-Wan Kenobi, Leia was likely grieving Obi-Wan even more than Luke was. Again, Luke had really only just begun to develop a relationship with Obi-Wan after years of Obi-Wan giving Luke, Uncle Owen, and Aunt Beru their space. He was no doubt genuinely heartbroken over this loss, but Leia had a much longer and more significant history with Obi-Wan at that point.